Hello, loyal viewers who would watch any video I would ever put out, regardless of what it was about, because they're just that loyal. And okay, I'm kind of memeing when I say that, but I'm also kind of not. Kind of. Let me tell you this story about this YouTuber, this really small Halo YouTuber. I'm not a Halo YouTuber, am I? I make Halo videos, but I'm more of a Synthesia YouTuber, a music YouTuber, if you will. Okay? An FL Studio YouTuber, whatever you want to call me. But I want to become more than that. I want to branch out and gather a sort of peanut gallery, if you will, of content. That's a thing people say, right? Yes, it is. Anyways, this Halo YouTuber, Infinite Forges, he makes really good stuff in Forge, infinitely. And he made a great video called Halo Infinite Custom Campaigns, where he brings up, well, I commented on this video, and the comment pretty much says all of my thoughts that I would put into a video. So let me just read it out to you right here. It got 2 likes as of right now, because those are both my profiles. So let's uncover this vast trove of knowledge here. Holy crap, I've thought about this very thing about a year ago and was completely baffled by the fact that no one seemed even to be considering the concept, since the closest I heard anyone asking for was placeable AI in Forge, but that wasn't quite seeing the bigger picture I thought I saw. Thank YouTube for recommending me this random video from this random tiny Halo channel, which finally talks about what I've had on my mind for a while now, and I've been trying to talk to others about online, but they only seem to walk away from my messages confused. Okay, you get, like, what am I talking about here? You guys are thinking. Okay, I'm about to tell you. This is Content 101. To elaborate on the concept, create a level from the ground up with Forge, with a spawn point, all the objectives, and placing triggers which would spawn the enemies when activated. Anything could be a trigger, from the player reaching a certain area, to a timer finishing, to the walking pattern of a caged Moa. This would all be up to the designer. Alternatively, the enemies could come from phantoms that drop them off, or any number of other ways. But the designer could create new enemies if they wanted, change stats, manipulate hitboxes, alter shapes, import textures, the works. You could make a 50-foot tall grunt that charges up its laser eyes which shoot you with needler rounds, or make all new effects and mechanics never before seen in Halo. And if this could be done for enemies, why not friendlies as well? Why not your weapons? Why not your vehicles? Why not the player himself? Imagine if you could upload a pre-rendered cutscene to play when the player completes task X or reaches location Y. Or perhaps when that happens you could trigger a script of in-game models to make the cutscene. You could also upload custom sound files for people to talk, so you could in fact voice act in your own custom campaign, a make or break element if implemented. Alternatively, create the sound of the new gun you've created. How about the music? If I were 343, I'd give free access to the entirety of every Halo game's OST to be placed on a trigger, manipulated, have its volume adjusted, fade out after the enemies are dead, and loop as many times necessary. As well, if you could upload custom cutscenes, then what's to stop you from uploading your own music as well? Well, copyright, I believe, but though I can't say for sure whether that could get 343 in legal trouble. Either way, if you use non-copyrighted music, such as your own original stuff, you could in fact create an original soundtrack to your fan-made Halo campaign. You smell what I'm smoking here? The more ability 343 gives the community to manipulate the game, the more creativity their massive player base will soon come up with, and turn into free content for Halo Infinite, for all eternity. Imagine alongside the custom multiplayer maps browser, there's also the community campaigns browser, a colossal archive of thousands of people's creations available to be downloaded to your Xbox or PC and played. Like Forge maps, the majority will be lame, and sorting by new will rarely be a gratifying experience. But of course, it's that top 10% that will actually have some worth, and that top 1% or less which will be stunningly polished and creative and feed the fire of Halo's community for years and years to come. No matter how good Halo Infinite ends up being, the fanbase is pretty much in agreement that Halo will never again reach the status it had in 2007, and that its time in the limelight has simply passed. But this is the one way I could very much see Halo return to and even surpass its popularity in the late 2000s. Even if the base campaign is awful and the multiplayer is a mess, if 343 were to pursue this avenue and do it well, Halo Infinite would be played for years and years to come. I by no means want the base campaign and multiplayer to be bad, however, and having a fantastic campaign would only be further sweetened by the realization that after it's over, and you've played your fill of it, there's still a near infinite amount of content, perhaps just as good, perhaps better than the game you've already enjoyed. Think the BR is OP? Think the shotgun needs more rounds? The designer can tweak it to its perfection in the game he makes. It could be one mission or multiple strung together. This would surely be shown in the browser, as well as whether it was vanilla gameplay or not. A number of descriptive tags could be attached to the file, alongside screenshots and maybe even a trailer in its little mini page when you click on it. telling you if it supports or requires co-op, if it uses imported textures, if it contains profanity and or sexuality, and if so, at what level. And that does bring me to the thing that made me wonder if the reason this hadn't been considered before was because of the obvious problems it posed. People would definitely sneak things like pornography, slurs, and whatever else they feels make them sneaky if they are given such total control over what they can put out for others to see. Perhaps they would be forced to state a maturity rating on all different factors alongside their file, but even if 343 could look through every single campaign submitted, they wouldn't be able to examine every file and appearance of files in-game to make sure it aligned. So a pending feature wouldn't work. My best answer would be to have people able to report it themselves, giving the exact location of whatever is offensive or inappropriate in the custom campaigns, provided it exceeds the stated maturity rating. If 343's staff finds this report accurate, the campaign can be suspended and the designer blocked from playing online for a short time, but increasingly long if he's a repeat offender. I don't know too much about game design or coding, so I just assumed my solution wouldn't be satisfactory somehow, and that such a system was an impossible dream. But a very possible dream it was, as I was not long after proven by PlayStation's Dreams, which is essentially what I've described here, beating Microsoft with a punch it likely isn't charging up for. But on the off chance it is, Halo Infinite would be superior to Dreams in that its base game is fun, and that by default, you have a whole gameplay system built up for you, which would create a through line through most of the content out there, as opposed to a blank canvas. Just imagine, every week by opening up community campaigns, you would see a section labeled Developer's Choice, highlighting some great creations which have otherwise flown mostly under the radar, and haven't quite made it to trending. 343 would be having the time of their lives playing through their fans' beautiful work, which acts as a selling point for their own game. Of course, you could then sort to see the top-rated campaigns of all time. Why not have the ability to rate one after you played it? Those recently updated, and the ones most downloaded of all time, which of course would include extremely detailed recreations of past Halo games, or even other games non-Halo related. People would form teams in order to better develop fan campaigns, with little communities of their own who re-download the level as it is uploaded. Imagine buying Halo Infinite and going on to play every other Halo game. That would be hilarious. Hilarious enough to be reason alone for custom campaigns to be a thing. Make it happen, 343, and that's where the comment ends. These are all thoughts I've had in my head for over a year, but writing it out here made for quite a text wall. Too intimidating for most people. Anyways, I thought this was a pretty fantastic idea. I don't know if you guys think that is, if there's something wrong with what I'm seeing, if there's something I'm not seeing here. But I think it would make for a great game, and if I were leading 343 Industries, then I would get them on this ASAP. Of course, in order to do that, they probably have to cut like 5 modes. I recorded this pretty quickly, but stay tuned, Halo fans, and if you're not a Halo fan, like, what are you even doing here? Does any of this even make sense to you? You probably haven't even made this far into the video, but for the Halo fans here, stay tuned for the Halo 3 video that I make, and it's going to be the greatest video ever made. It's going to be even better than Halo Infinite.